there was some little scene happening in front of somebody's door and I had the teeth in, and this woman just looked at us and went, I can't, and just look, I don't know what her problem was. We're entitled to candy.
Happy Halloween and welcome, friends and fans, to another episode of GalaxyCon Live, where we are bringing the convention experience directly to you. And as I said, today is Halloween, and so the portal is open for us to walk through it with 3 amazingly talented guests from the Halloweentown series. So now is the time for all of you in our chat room to begin typing in your questions for them. Immediately after the session, you'll have the opportunity to talk to them directly through our private chat options, as well as shop our selection of personalized autographs, all of which are available now at GalaxyCon.com. So, without further ado, let us weave our spells and bring in our guests. Our first guest is an actress whose credits include Nashville the Magicians and April O'Neil in the very first, and still the best, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movie. Today, she joins us to discuss the role of a reluctant witch, Gwendolyn Piper. Please welcome Judith Hoag.
Well, hello there. Hi, everybody.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good, Patty. I'm glad to be here. And as the people who weren't with us earlier, I just walked through the door.
You wouldn't know it. Absolutely wonderful. How are things in your corner of the world?
Oh, they're good. You know, I was out at a pumpkin patch before I came. I needed to get more pumpkins in the house. Things are great. I'm in Nashville. I go back and forth between Nashville and Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. And so I have been enjoying my quarantine time here in Nashville in the woods. So
I would not absolutely blame you for that. All right, since we had to change the order of introduction, then the people notice in a second, this means I have you all to myself. So, so very, very, very briefly, I know it's a Halloweentown, but
we have to do it.
I gotta ask you about Ninja Turtles. I have to. It's Halloween.
I'm with
you, especially since I just hosted Kevin Eastman just a few weeks ago,
and
we talked about. Yeah, he's really good. Yeah, he is really good. Absolutely, plugging away.
I love Kevin.
Absolutely great. So, I'll just real quick, what was your favorite memory about being the first actress to bring April O'Neil to life?
Well, I mean, Renee did it, who is an actress, even though she's a voice actress. She did it in the cartoon.
Yes, she did.
So I would say, because I feel like there's a lot of Aprils now. And
there are.
I am very comfortable and happy to share the space with all the ones, the one that came before and the ones that came after. But my favorite scene in the movie, I think it was like it was like the best and the worst at the same time. It was the scene in the sewer where I'm meeting the turtles for the first time and I wake up and I see Splinter, and it's the, why don't I ever dream of Harrison Ford line. And what was happening was Jim Henson was on the set that day. Mm. And so I'm doing the scene, and out of the court, he's like, there's something called your eye line. So when you're acting, they try to clear the set so that if you look forward, you're not going to see anybody. Well, I looked up. I was screaming. I looked up, and there's Jim Henson, who I had never met before. I had grown up with Sesame Street. He was a huge part of this film, his Creature Shop in London. They brought it here. His son, Brian, was our second unit director. And I immediately went into my head. And it was like, oh my God. And then the other part of my brain, it's like the two parts of your brain screaming at the same time. One's going, Jim Henson, Jim Henson, Jim Henson. And the other is going, you're shooting a movie. You're shooting the movie. Like, pay attention. So I had to wait until everything was done before I could go over and say hello. But it was also really fun because it was the first time I was acting with Splinter and Kevin Clash. And it was just awesome. It was awesome.
Absolutely much.
Favorite. And I have many favorites.
Oh, of course. So thank you for indulging me with that. And thank you for our Halloweentown audience for indulging me with that too. And you are absolutely right. You are part of a wonderful sorority of actresses that have either voiced or given life to us. It is too. So absolutely.
I've met them all and they're great.
Maybe we should do a panel, do an all April O'Neil panel.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll ask my people and talk to your people, and we'll get it done.
I think that would be great.
Speaking of people, we have two amazing ones coming in, and they are arriving together. The first is an actor whose body work includes Youthful Days, Crossing Jordan, and 15 and Pregnant. Here today to discuss the role of villain and frog golem maker Cal, son of Calabar, and an actress whose credits include Low Winter Sun, Vampire, Princess Miyu, and Stephen King's Rose Red. Today she joins us to discuss the role of the rebellious young witch and our heroine, Marnie Piper. Please welcome Kimberly J Brown and Daniel Kountz.
Hi!
Hey!
Happy Halloween, everybody!
Happy Halloween!
Happy Halloween! Thank you for joining us, Count Kountz, or Kountz Counts, or yeah.
Oh, yes.
How are you guys doing?
We are awesome.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Are
a
you
little
on
warm still in Los Angeles, and I wish I was in the woods in Nashville actually enjoying some fall because it's like 8,700 degrees here today.
Yeah.
So
We didn't go to the pumpkin patch, so we brought the pumpkin patch to
I
us.
was just gonna say,
Hey.
you look like you're on the back of a truck.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's right. We were baling some hay earlier. We took some time out for our lunch break to say hey.
we brought it in with us. So
I'm in Central Florida, so you can always tell that the people who just moved to Florida when they put their jack-o'-lanterns out like a week before Halloween. It's like that's gonna be mush in 3 days.
Oh, yeah.
You're new around here, aren't you?
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here today. As always, we here at GalaxyCon, we miss the world in its old form. We look forward to when the world gets a little bit back to normal, and we can once again host you live on our stages and get you all back in front of your fans. Until the meantime, we have this electronic forum, the GalaxyCon virtual stage, and we are so glad to have you here today.
Yay!
Yeah, happy to
this
be
is
here.
awesome.
Hi, everybody. We're glad you're here.
Absolutely. So our team right now is going through the chat room and plucking out questions. In the meantime, while that's going on, I would just love to hear how Halloweentown began for each of you.
Oh, Kimberly, start.
Oh, okay. Let's see. It was 22 years ago now, which is incredibly hard to conceptually grasp onto. We filmed the first one in the summer and in Oregon, and I read for the role twice and was so excited I'd never gotten the chance to read for any kind of sort of paranormal role before. The opportunity to play a teenage witch was so exciting. And then the icing on the cake was to find out once I got it that the late, great, amazing Debbie Reynolds was going to play my grandma. So it just was a fantastic experience. The entire cast, we had such a great time working together, which was just a blessing because you never know how everybody's going to be when you all get together on set. And thankfully, because of the awesome fans, we got to do more movies after that. And I got to grow up with Marnie, which was really fun.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Judith, I believe you were next.
Okay, I went in and had a meeting with, I guess it was the head of Disney and somebody else. And I believe I read, but I kind of knew in the room that I had gotten the job because his son was a diehard Ninja Turtle fan. So we talked a whole lot about that, and we read it. It was super fun. It was, it was a great script, and it was so much fun. And I think it was one of those very fun and easy jobs to get, which, as actors, you guys know that doesn't always happen.
No,
not so much.
No.
Now, when you say head of Disney, do you mean like the head of Disney, or are you talking like
No, he was the head of Disney Television.
Okay, right. Because I was trying to put in my head, well, could that have been Eisner or Iger? And wait a minute.
No.
Yeah, no, that's Ted. Right.
Iger was the head. Yeah, no,
Eisner years.
Clarified Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Yes, as our audience would certainly know.
One step down, I think. It doesn't matter. But it was great meeting.
So one movie in the can, and then they decided to do another one, and that's where you come in, young man.
Yes. I think I had It was a normal actor process thing. I think I had like 5 auditions for it. They kept bringing me back, and each time I would get on a higher floor in the Disney Channel building. They're like, "Okay, you made it to the 11th floor this time." And I'm like, "Great!" And then the next time I'm like, "Ooh, all the way up to the 22nd, sweet." And then I ended up all the way at the top, and it was me and a couple other dudes that I've seen at a million other auditions because you kind of see the same people as you're going around doing the circle.
Yep.
And they called and said, "Hey, you got the part." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's amazing. You sure you don't want me to do it on the roof this time? There's a helicopter landing pad. I'll totally do it there." But
you cut a fine figure in the leather jacket.
Oh, why? Thank you. I mean, that's really what sold everything. Once I put that jacket on, I'm like, there you go. That's all I need. It's the coolest jacket in the world.
I'm suave, sexy, and evil, but we won't know.
But Daniel, who knew that it was like a date with destiny?
I know, right? It's like all these years later. Look at that.
Right?
And Debbie. There is such a wonderful twinkle in her eye throughout this entire series, and the energy she brought to it. I envy you all for being able to work for her, and she really looks like, for me anyway, it looks like she just had a wonderful effervescence. It looked like she was really just enjoying herself tremendously. So what recollections did you have of her?
Oh gosh, Debbie and her notepad. Debbie and her yellow notepad.
Yes.
Really? Tell us more.
Well, she was a quick study, but sometimes as you get older, you're trying to hold on to the words a little bit more. And she always had her yellow pad there. And it was so much fun because you'd be sitting with her with her yellow pad, and she was presumably supposed to be like learning her lines for the next scene. And then you just chat, and before you knew it, she was telling you some amazing story from her career, and she was very generous that way. She always, because she collected memorabilia and stuff, she realized that there was like this archive of knowledge about the business that was on its way out the door, and if she didn't share it, it would be lost.
Yeah.
And so she shared it with us generously, and I loved that. I love that.
I envy you for that. I love hearing those stories of, the contract years, like Mr. Warner and those old Hollywood days, and wow, that's an envious experience.
Yeah,
absolutely. So how about Kimberly, Daniel, any recollections?
Oh boy, I could talk for hours of all the stories. But yeah, so many things that stuck with me was generous is such a good word, because she wanted to always use her position to make everybody else better. There was such a grace and just an encouragement from her, and everybody was a peer, and she wanted everybody to shine as brightly as she could. She tried to move ladders for crew members. Yeah. She would do funny things to make you giggle, just to keep you up late at night. She was so giving, and she loved her fans always. Was just so great at always saying hi to the crowds that would gather around set to catch a glimpse. And it really taught me at a young age what a gift it is to be able to be in that position for people. And I think that really rubbed off on me as a teenager, how she just loved to give back.
Yeah. Yes. Sounds like you had a lot of really good mentors on that series.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Daniel, I'm trying to remember. Did you actually have a scene with her? I mean, your face was certainly appeared several times.
My face had a scene. Yeah, my big giant concrete face had a good scene with it.
Yeah.
Actually, she was super nice and gracious and amazing to me. I just loved all of the jokes that she cracked, and she'd walk around singing and stuff. I remember one time when we were filming the end scene where Cal's in the rafters and it's the big party and he jumps down, this whole thing. We had been filming a lot, and it was late at night, so a lot of the extras and everybody was just kind of tired. And Debbie, she was 68, I think, at the time. she starts cracking jokes and dancing around and singing to bring all of the energy up. And it was like midnight or something. And she's like, okay, everybody, let's do this. And just got everybody all riled up again and ready to go. And it was just amazing to see, because she was just an ultimate performer and so gracious and wonderful. And you could feel the energy off of her when you're close to her. Like, it's so cool.
Yeah. It definitely came through in her performance, as all of yours as well. And again, it's a fun script. It's a gentle, fun romp of a youthful adventure, and that's just one thing that I found about this when I discovered it. Because several years ago, a girlfriend of mine was just like, "Oh, yeah, it's one of my favorite movies of all time." I was like, "Halloweentown, what's this?" Okay. Oh, and I watch it trepidatiously, but I count myself as a fan, and I absolutely thank you for sharing that with me. And
you're welcome.
Oh, yes,
You're
indeed.
a good boyfriend.
I try. And so what's been your favorite memory that you come to treasure from being a part of all this?
Oh man.
Besides you two meeting.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
I mean,
That's
clearly,
pretty good.
Clearly,
Yeah. One of my favorites just happened a few years ago, actually. The first year I went back to St. Helens, Oregon, which is where we filmed the first Halloweentown, and they now every year recreate the town to make it look like Halloweentown every year.
Nice.
And they asked me back one year, and the first year I went back, over 15,000 people showed up, and they had to escort me in with several nice policemen, and it was, people were hanging out on the roofs of buildings and everything. And it just was one of the most surreal, amazing days of my life, really, because it was so touching that people traveled internationally even to come see the town and see, where the movie had been done. And that was where it really, I had sort of a physical representation of the spirit that lives on with the movie. And it's such an honor to be a part of it, and to have people still want to watch it every year and talk about it. It's the greatest feeling, and I'm so grateful for it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very awesome.
I would say that's a thing for me too. I mean, as actors, we do a lot of movies and television, things that we treasure, and they don't make a dent in the universe. People are like, yeah, I don't think I saw that one. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, didn't. And this was really like this, because guys, this was supposed to be one movie. This was a standalone movie. And then it was a second movie. And it grew and it grew and it grew. And it was really kind of stunning that way. And that was all about the fans, and that they loved the movie. And so having something that 22 years later, people, you guys know, everywhere you go, it's, oh, Halloweentown, I love that movie. Oh, we all, our 3 generations of the family get together and watch. And it really is lovely. I grew up with like The Wizard of Oz. We're Singing in the Rain or something like that. Like, those were movies that Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, when it comes around every year, it just makes me incredibly nostalgic. And it's so, it's an incredible blessing and honor to be part of something that we're part of the culture.
Yeah.
Wow. What's bigger than that, and better than, and in a positive way?
Yes.
Not like all right, wish we could forget
Do you
that.
remember that one?
Yeah. Yeah, nightmares about
that
that.
one.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah.
There's a curious and wonderful dichotomy about Halloween and Halloween spirit. There is this wonderful ghosts and goblins and spooky skeletons, and then you've got the other side of the equation, the gore hounds and Michael Myers and all that sort of stuff. And they're both valid.
There's
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
There absolutely is. But again, there's a daytime Halloween, there's a nighttime Halloween, and I think I think this series is a wonderful Halloween matinee treat.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I like it. Although Mary Lambert, she was the director for it, and she was amazing for the second one. And she was a horror director that did Pet Sematary and all kinds of stuff. So she kept pushing the envelope to try to make it a little darker. And Disney Channel's like, this is Disney Channel, so no, we can't do that. She's like, but I have these ideas.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you're gonna freak them all out. No, we're not gonna do that. So she did bring some little bit of darkness to it.
Well, the needle was moved between the first and the second movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an edgier side of Halloweentown, which I think is cool.
Right. Well, it's practically in black and white.
Yeah,
Right.
That's right.
right.
It was noir.
Put on bump.
Right.
Halloweentown noir.
Hey,
We're here all day. All right.
so Daniel, how about you? What's the memory you've come to treasure from all this?
Oh, I had so many memories. I one of the fun memories for me was actually the coming out of the block and everything, because not only did it look cool, but having to actually do the plaster on your face so they can make the mold. I'd never done that before. So it is what they talk about, where they have to pour all of the plaster all over you, and you have the straws up your nose and everything, and you can't see, and you can barely breathe, and you're just like, okay, I'm not gonna die. It's fine. These are professionals. Everything's good, you know. And then when you peel it off, you can see your face, and then see what they do with it. And then they glued it onto my face afterwards. So like I'm walking around with a little block on my face all day, you know, which is great. And then we all signed it.
We all drew
afterwards,
on
on it and
We
stuff.
drew
So that was fun. And everybody was so nice to me. You know, I showed up in the second movie, so you know it could have been like,
where is this autographed head now?
Yeah.
I don't even know. I have a picture of it, but I don't know somewhere. It's probably in the Smithsonian, I'm thinking.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
If everybody signed it, you didn't get to keep it?
No, I didn't get to keep it. I'm not sure what happened to it. It would have been really cool, but I don't know. I don't know.
Audience,
Where's that, Disney? Where's that?
We have a quest now. Somebody needs to find out the mystery of the David's prosthetic.
Yes, please do.
Absolutely. And our producer, let me know we have questions from the audience. Good to go. So let's roll our first one. And this comes from Anne, who wants. Okay,
there we go.
Anne. Well, we know what you didn't. But did anybody acquire anything else from that?
Yes. Let's see. I have the Calabar's bat assistant from the first movie. Disney was kind enough to give me that. And I have Marnie's outfit from the second movie that I wore in the second and third. I have Marnie's little broom in the second one. She carried a broom in her pocket, which I loved that idea. But I had I have the stand-in broom, like not the one that was, camera ready, but I got to keep one of the stand-ins. Okay. And yeah, like I tried to now in hindsight, I wish I had like run off with the talisman or something, just like tucked in a pocket and was like, I don't know where it went, but I, didn't have that idea at the time.
Youth is wasted on the young.
Yeah.
Because they would have checked the grown-ups. They wouldn't have suspected the kids.
Right.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How about you, Judith?
I do have something, and I meant to get it out last night. Hold, please.
Oh.
Well, hello there. Let's get close so you can really.
Nice.
Christina, blow Judith up. Let's take it again.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I live in the woods now. Aren't they pretty? I would take my daughter. So these were made for my teeth, and they let me keep them because they were made for my mouth. I also have my mask, which I was going to go get if I had gotten my time zones right. But these were made for me, and they're dental grade, and they fit perfectly. And I used to take my daughter trick-or-treating with these. There we go. And I would ask for candy and tell them that I was going to, I don't know, do better dental hygiene with children than I had with myself. It's so funny. There was one time, literally, Gracie was melting down. She'd had way too much chocolate or candy. She was probably about 4 years old. And I had my teeth on, and she was like, I don't know, there was some little scene happening in front of somebody's store, and I had the teeth in, and this woman just looked at us and went, I can't, and just look, I don't know what her problem was. We're entitled to candy.
Yeah.
I think what we're learning is that Judith wears these teeth quite often by herself.
You just pulled those out of your pocket, didn't you?
She was like, let me show them.
Can you blame her?
They
Oh, there you go. It's on the box.
Oh, wow.
I got the whole kit and caboodle.
I realized I had this in the shelf right next to me, so I have the book, the producers. So this is not the one in the movie, but it's a copy of it. So this is
still though
very it is. It's replica.
Oh.
Well, I think, don't they always have to have like the original and then a backup in case anything happens if you have to do reshoots? Or I'm going to call it an original.
Hey, I'll go with that too.
There you go.
I like that.
Yeah. Usually there's that redundancy and some of it too. So Daniel, did you have anything?
I wish I swiped that jacket. Is what I really wished. I asked. I was like, "Hey, gonna get the jacket?" And they're like, "Yeah, sorry. We got other stuff. We got other plans for the jacket." And I'm like, "Okay, but it's my jacket. It's perfect."
I know. You go to a fitting and they tailor
it to you. Yeah.
So the jacket's probably sitting right next to the big face block thing.
In a closet.
Hanging out in a closet somewhere.
Disney wouldn't let me keep underwear.
Oh,
well,
they wouldn't, huh?
Okay.
No. I did an Imagineering project, and I was just like, "Can I keep anything?" No, we got to keep it all. I was like, "Even the unmentionables?" They're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay,
Okay then."
But thank you for the show and tell. This is wonderful. And Annie, thank you. Great question to start us off with. Here, happy Halloween. Have a treat.
Oh, I don't have any treats in the house.
Don't worry, I got plenty for audience, so we're good. Let's roll another one. What do you have? This one's from Amy. If you could have any magical power in real life, what would you choose?
Just one. I mean, I gotta say, I love back to Marnie's pocket broom. The ability to, just throw that baby out and hop on and go to where you gotta go. I mean, that's pretty amazing, I gotta say, especially living in Los Angeles for most of the time where the traffic is abhorrent. So yeah, maybe some sort of teleportation or, that's pretty cool.
Or at the very least, your own private taxi with a skeleton cabbie.
I would settle for that as well. Yes. Yeah.
I think, there was a scene in the third movie where Halloweentown High where they were all coming to our house and we're in the kitchen and I do this spell and a door opens and like there's a dormitory down there. And I would love to have that magical power where I could just make things materialize out of my amazing spell.
Like an additional wing to your house. That would be
then all of the renovations of my house would be done.
Yeah.
It would be amazing. Meanwhile, COVID.
Yeah. How about you, Dan?
I'd love to have all the magical powers, but the one where you can shrink things would be cool, where I shrunk the book in the movie and stuff, because when you're moving or anything, you can just be like, huh, and then shrink all the things, put them in your pocket, move somewhere.
I forgot you did that. Yeah.
I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would work. When this question comes up for the other superpowers, I always say, I wish I could sing like Freddie Mercury.
There you go.
Yes, it was.
That'd be a good
power. And Amy, thank you so much. Great question.
Thank you, Amy.
Happy Halloween.
Oh, I love it. You are like on a sugar buzz by the end of this.
Yeah.
Although you haven't actually eaten any. Have you?
Yeah.
Are you sneaking it when we're not watching?
No, I'll never tell. But if my teeth look like your fake ones at the end of this,
we'll know why.
That's my story. I'm sticking to it.
No matter what.
Let's. I gotta tie my shoe. Let's roll another question. Josh, how do you prepare for your role in films? And you can expand this to any part of your repertoire.
Ooh, that's a good question.
I have a long honed system. I make up the whole history of who I am. Like I take who I am in the story, and then I do the entire backstory. I try to create very real relationships with the people that I'm dealing with and give us some history together. It was funny because Kim and I just were talking the other day, and I had an experience where in the beginning of the movie, the very first one, I really didn't feel like my character, the way that I looked, the way that I was, that very first day was kind of a rough day for me. And so what I did was just take exactly what was happening, the fact that my clothes were weird and my hair was weird and there were, stuff was a little off, and use it. And I was able to kind of make the leap so that I could become this character. And it was one of those things where I thought, sometimes life shows up in ways where you're like, I would never choose this. I would never choose this. And it ends up being like a huge gift if you don't fight it and you just go with it. So, and that's the case for, any actors that are watching us today. Your first day of work or on a job, whatever it is, it's like a bit of a fire walk. It's all new people. It's a new environment. You're trying to fit this character or fit into the body of the character or however you do it. And it can be uncomfortable. And the more you just kind of let go and go with it. But I think that happens over time. I think when I first started, it was much less comfortable than it is now, but it's super fun. I mean, I love it. The longer I've been at it for almost 35 years, something like that. And that enthusiasm that I had at the very beginning, I have even more now, which I'm apparently a freak because of that.
I'm a freak too, because right? I've been doing it for about 30 years and I still get the same excitement every time. And I think that's when you're still in the right place in your life, when you get the same joy out of diving into a character and figuring out what they like and what they don't like in their relationship to the other people around them. And so that's you said earlier about about it not being necessarily something you would do, and that's where the fun of it really comes, is getting to explore lots of different things that you wouldn't necessarily do, and you don't have to be accountable or anything for them. You get to try all kinds of stuff. So
kill people, I've done all kinds of things.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and here we are.
Shot people, been shot, all kinds.
I still haven't been shot. That's one thing.
Oh, I was shot.
That's still on my bucket list of things to do in a role, to act out.
I got burned by a misplaced squib that was a little.
Oh, that's no.
Anyway, it was misplaced. The plate was here. It was a little off center, and just. Ooh. Yeah, I had an owie.
You gotta be careful with those.
Yes, indeed. So, Daniel, how about you? What modus operandi do you get into the part?
Well, like Judith was saying, coming up with the backstory and everything, I think is one of the more fun parts of being an actor, is figuring out why you're doing what you're doing, because as human beings, we have reasons for everything that we do, whether we know them or not. Every decision we make, we have a reason for it. And as an actor, it's like, that's all you got to do. You got to figure out your reasons for the decision your character makes. And that's part of the fun, is doing the investigative work to figure out what happened to them previously to bring them to this point now.
Yep.
And that to me is just basically, it's human nature coming up, why people do the things they do and what motivates them. Because we all have a little bit of everybody in us. Like we all are capable of all kinds of things. So you got to find that in you and put it on the character, on why the character does what they do, and try to marry the two a little bit, just so you can solidify it and you're good to go. It's that simple. It's just,
I know though that you can do all this work and then you get to set and it's gone.
Yeah.
It's like, why? Not why did I bother? Because it's never that. But I've learned over time, the less I'm trying to control what's happening, the better I am. And when I come in with all my ideas of how I want it to go and stuff, I've just kind of screwed myself. So over the years, I've learned to like let it go and do the homework, come in, and then just be fresh and just see what happens. Because that's where great stuff happens. Like when I'm not trying to recreate or live up to something and I just let it happen. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's magic. And it really is. And it's so much fun.
What I've taught improv, one advice I've always said is don't come in with plans, come in with a toolbox.
There you go. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, and that toolbox can be big, and you can have all kinds of stuff in it. But don't come in with a plan. Don't say I'm going to do this, but just come in with as much tools as you got, and then you can pull out whatever you need.
Yeah, that's the basic, essential nature of improv is yes. Okay, yes, and
and again, and it works just as well with scripted material and everything else because the director says, "Oh no, we're doing this."
Like, okay, yes.
Oh yeah. Sometimes there are moments. It's different now, but when I was younger, where the director would have this idea of what they wanted, and I've found that my instincts are usually not always, but they're usually right, and that I have done things that directors have wanted me to do that I have really regretted. And so as I got deeper into my career, I learned how to thoughtfully make my stand for my work. You don't do it angrily. You don't do it. And sometimes you just have to say, oh yeah, okay, great. And just do what you want. And then they go, yeah, that was it. You're like, good, thank you. Because that note was perfect.
because they never want to admit what you did was better than what they envisioned at that moment.
Well, and I think
which not a universal thing, but sometimes that happens.
Yeah, no, I think sometimes directors aren't actors, and so they're not speaking our language. Like you guys know, when you're working with a director who like knows how to talk to actors, it's a whole different thing. Could you just do it faster? Or, where it's just really about directing traffic versus human behavior. Mm-hmm. Don't get me started on this, people. No. It's all day long.
And inside the actor's studio with Judith Hoag.
Absolutely. Josh, you took us down some interesting roads. Thank you so much. Here's your treat. All right.
Twix.
Yes, a little tiny Twix. This is the minis, and I think this one says, this is the left one.
Oh,
the left Twix.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Don't I always throw the right ones away. And what we have next? And so it's Catherine. Ooh. What is your favorite Halloween candy?
Oh, so many.
Candy corn.
Candies.
Candy corn.
I don't pick candy corn.
I like the candy corn.
I do. It's delicious.
Yeah.
I love you, and you can have every piece of candy corn that I ever get. Mm-hmm. But I'm gonna want your almond joys.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah, the almond joys are good.
Almond joys are yummy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, take your mounds too, because sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't.
Heyo.
Yeah. I like anything with chocolate in it. I'm like, I don't know, just give it to me. Chocolate. Whatever the chocolate is.
Chocolate and peanut butter is an awesome combination.
Here you go. I got this.
Chocolate peanut butter. Oh, Reese's peanut butter cups.
I do love a buttercup. Or Butterfinger. Love a Butterfinger.
Butterfinger.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Crunchy. Yep.
Good one. Yeah.
Now I'm hungry.
Dark chocolate Reese's peanut butter cups.
Oh, yes.
I'm
and they're not common.
No, they're not.
No. I'll stop at those weird convenience stores that's not a franchise 7-Eleven one, and I'll see them in there. I'll get 3 or 4.
Yep.
Just
put them in the freezer and then eat them.
Yes. So candy corn, really? Wow. Candy corn came up.
That's really your favorite. Like above.
I think chocolate, candies with chocolate, like peanut butter and everything above all, yes. But like Halloween this season, I always make a point to eat, as much candy corn as I can.
Candy corn in your house.
Do I have a bowl of it in my house?
Do you like to keep it out? Or you can just walk by and have a piece of it.
No, that's dangerous because it just wouldn't last very long. And then, I'd feel great. And then the sugar crash would come. So I can't. Yeah, I have to.
I used to buy Halloween candy and then have my kids hide it before Halloween so that I couldn't find it because I would. upside down trying to find that candy. It was terrible.
I said candy corn came up at the Willy Wonka panel a few hours ago, and the consensus was candy corn is a candy that's also interactive because you could use it as a masquerade prop because you always take the two and you put up, oh, I'm a candy corn vampire.
Yep.
And then you got your one friend that was fearless, was put them 4 or 5 of them up his nose and other silly like that. So
that's dangerous.
That's a lot of candy corn out there.
Yeah.
We all knew one kid like that in the neighborhood. So, and Catherine, thank you. That was a very fun one.
Thank you, Catherine.
And you'll get a, to have a Snickers. Small
There we
one.
go.
Ooh, yeah.
These are good too.
And a reminder to our audience, if you would like to chat with our guests like I am now or purchase a personalized autograph, please sign up at GalaxyCon.com. And I think we have time for a few more, so let's roll our next one. And this comes from Nicole. What was the most difficult scene for you to film?
Ooh, difficult scene.
Oh, good.
Do you have one,
question,
Judith?
Nicole.
Well, yeah, and it was
Gonna buy
because it
myself
was kind of technical.
Mm.
And it was when Debbie and I were in the movie theater and Calabar had put his spell on us through the screen.
Mhm.
We had to, collapse into the theater seats and be frozen and kind of dead looking. And you can't breathe, you can't move, but you fall in a weird position.
Yeah.
And you have to immediately freeze in this position that you not really are settled into the chair.
Yeah.
And stop breathing.
Which
That's
you did a
tricky.
great
Yeah.
job of, by the way.
Thank you I feel like it was my best work.
Yeah. Is that's still on your reel, isn't it? That scene, just that moment.
Ever.
It's still on your reel. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I teach classes in it.
That was the moment James was Lipton.
Plus, Debbie was hilarious, and so we'd laugh, and it was like, cut. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
please. Don't breathe.
But you're right. I do remember that scene because it would have been easy for them to just be like sitting and frozen. But it was kind of
It's an action shot.
you could have stood in that better, but to be like lumped over,
Yeah, well, you had to fall into the chair, sort of frozen. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That's tricky.
It was one
It
of
was
the
a stunt, really. You did your own stunt. Yeah. Mhm.
yeah.
That person would be like, "Really? You think that's a stunt?" Like, yeah, it's a really hard stunt.
I have to say, for me, I wouldn't say difficult, but the broom flying for whatever reason in the second film was just not as comfortable as it was in the first one. And I don't know if it was the seats they designed. They were kind of big, like banana seats, but they were, and I've never flown. Yeah, I've never flown on the broom by myself either. So maybe that was it too. But it was just not the most comfortable situation. But it looked great, and it was fun to, pretend to be able to fly. But that was.
You sold that because you looked like you were flying.
Yeah.
That was good.
Thank you.
And in the moment. So, Daniel, bring us home.
I'd say the most difficult, but probably one of the more fun ones was when I was in the rafters at the one of the end scenes with the big party and everything, and I got the big book and stuff. They actually put me up in the rafters. So I was up there, I don't know, 25 feet, 30 feet up in the air, and they had tethered me to the back of it so I didn't fall over or fall off the rafter, but I had to hold the book and do the spell before I jumped down. So it was fun because I was up there, but a little terrifying because I'm like, oh, okay, that's a ways down. But being able to hold the big book, because it was a big book, like, man, big old heavy book, and I'm on this like rafter thing up there. I'm like, okay, well, hopefully that's anchored in and I don't die. But that was probably the most difficult, but one of the more fun ones.
Did you ever, because you were tethered, did you ever get comfortable up to the point where you kind of let your weight kind of fall forward?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe? And so
it took a little bit of time. I had to make sure that the anchor bolt was really good in there. I didn't want somebody like willy-nilly tying it and me being like, oh, no.
Yeah. So awesome. Nicole, thank you. Great
Thank
one.
you, Nicole.
Have a Kit Kat.
Oh, gotta love Kit Kat.
Indeed. And they come in dark chocolate.
Chocolate Kit Kat, you can keep it. I don't know about white chocolate. There you go.
If you give them to me, I'll eat them, but I'll never buy them.
I don't understand why they call it white chocolate. It's not chocolate.
Yeah.
What is it? I don't even know what it is.
I don't know.
It's milk and flavoring, isn't it?
Milk and milk.
It's milk and milk. Yeah.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah. That's just what it is. So, I think we got time for one more. So, Christina, pull a good one for us. And from Lauren, do you have any Halloween traditions besides the teeth?
Ooh. Well, I don't do this anymore, but over my kind of teenage into my 20s years, Debbie gave me this idea. I used to give out candy in the Marnie outfit because she would give out candy she kept the Aggie cloak and she would give out candy. So after she told me that, I was like, that's a great idea. So I did it for a few years and it was so fun. It would really surprise people, but it kind of got a little out of hand because then throughout the rest of the year, people would come knocking on the door going, is this Marnie's house? Is she home? So we kind of had to pull it back a little bit, but that was opening the door and seeing people's surprised faces was a real blast.
And would they say you look just like the girl in the movie?
Sometimes, yeah.
Or would they know it was you? Because a lot of
it was a mixture. Some people I think just thought maybe it was, but then they just were like, that's not going to be her. I mean, come on, so and then other times they would it was like a deer in headlights and they couldn't, just be like, okay, bye. And they would turn around and, but it was always fun, surprising people.
Right. That's really adorable.
I think our tradition was always that we decorated the house really well. Like I would decorate we had a courtyard. So you would walk through into this courtyard and the courtyard was decorated out. And I was always very lucky because my mask was usually on a dummy out there and I would give him like glowing eyes and stuff. And so we did a lot and it was so much fun. It was so much fun. And then we'd drive. There was one place near us. We lived near Toluca Lake and they have the best Christmas, but they also had great Halloween decorations. So I threw the kids in the car and they would be standing up out of the sunroof of the top of the car with their hands, elbows on the top of the car. And we'd drive all over the place. And it was so much fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is really cool. So, and Daniel, any Halloween traditions?
Well, I mean, the tradition when you're a kid to dress up and go try to get as much candy as possible. I wish we could do that as adults because still as an adult, we still like candy and we still like dressing up. Obviously, being an actor, you like dressing up. So it's like, why can't we just do that now? So that was one of my favorite traditions when growing up and everything with my family is just doing the trick-or-treating and stuff and getting the pillowcase. It was always a pillowcase. You got to get the pillowcase and walk around, whether you're a werewolf or a vampire or a prince or whatever.
I think that's fallen out of favor now. Most trick-or-treaters I always see with the little shopping bags from the grocery store and stuff. But yeah, the pillowcase, that was the
that actually was another tradition at our house where the kids would come home and they would weigh their candy. And they would take it and they would, stand on the scale and then you had to hand them their candy and then there was a contest of whose candy weighed more.
Wow.
Yeah, that was we lived great trick-or-treating. So there was full-size candy bars. There was I started a tradition of I'd buy those big snack bags of Doritos and Cheetos and all that kind of stuff because I would think you got so much candy you need a little salt.
That's a great yeah.
I remember one time someone came to the house and she was like, chips? You want chips? I don't want chips. I was like, you want to have the chips? She's like, no, I want the chips. But nobody gives chips. I was like, okay, well,
wow,
sweetheart.
I want the chips.
Throw chips at the back of her head. Get off my lane.
That's where you put the teeth on. It's like, get off my property.
Right.
Yeah. Get in here.
You.
There you go.
That's all I got is chips. Oh, Brett. No, do not wind her up.
Yeah.
People know in my family, don't wind her up. And my daughter's the same way. They wound her up.
Oh, Lauren, thank you so much. Great one.
Thank you,
I
Lauren.
don't have any chips, but here, have a Milky Way. And GalaxyCon viewers, this has been my time with the cast of Halloweentown, but it absolutely does not have to be yours. If you'd like to chat with our guests or purchase a personalized autograph, please head over to GalaxyCon.com. And while you're there, be sure to check out our schedule of upcoming events like this one. Panelists, any final words for our audience before we go?
Oh, just thank you for coming and watching us today. Thank you for watching the movies over the years and being fans. We're so touched to still be here all these years later, sharing stories. Happy Halloween, because Halloween is cool.
Mm-hmm. You know what else is cool? Kimberly, you're doing a lot of fun stuff on TikTok. What's your account for those? What's your account for those that don't know it by now?
It's official Kimberly J Brown.
And Kimberly,
yes.
How many followers do you have?
I think almost 800,000. I think.
And how long have you been on?
Like 2 months.
That's like insane.
Yeah.
She's my social media spirit animal.
I'm trying to slowly, share some of the. I'm still learning them too. I feel like I'm like, what's a duet? What's this? I've been trying to learn. Yeah. There's some talented people on TikTok. It's awesome. Yeah.
Very cool.
Amazing. I mean, and you're one of them.
Thank you.
You'll be in a million before you know it.
Oh, Judith, Daniel, Kimberly, it has been my absolute pleasure to serve you all today. Thank you for joining us at the GalaxyCon virtual stage. And thank you to our audience for joining us here today. And thank you for all those great questions. Have a happy and safe Halloween. And please keep washing those hands.
Happy
Bye.
Halloween,
Happy
guys.
Halloween.
You guys, I love Daniel and Kim. And thank you so much, Patty, and to all the fans.
Thank you.